The following is an MTA New York City Transit public service announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, please be advised that there are service changes at the Coney Island Stillwell Avenue terminal due to reconstruction project. The F train.
When the system fails us, every once in a while, a willing civilian has to step in to fill the void. Meet Tony. Whenever the Metropolitan Transit Authority does what he considers to be an inadequate job of letting subway riders know about schedule changes, he takes over as the underground town crier. Next Big Thing contributor Steve Zeitlin is a regular subway rider and has seen Tony, who asked us not to use his last name, pretty much every day on the platform for the past 4 years.
So, Tony, what gives you the right to give public service announcements on behalf of the Transit Authority?
See, it really offends me, it really sickens me to see customers down here not knowing where they're going and what they're doing. And that's where I come in at. I'm what I consider myself a volunteer customer service trained representative.
Steve discovered that fate, by way of the MTA, was about to deal Tony an unhappy blow, and that given Tony's particular situation, there wasn't much that could be done about it. Anything, really.
There's a few basic things you need to know about Tony. The first is that he is an unofficial customer service trained representative. Second, Tony's not a beggar. He survives on the generosity of everyday people like me who are inspired to give him things, just so that he can continue being who he is.
Whatever it is that they gave me, Steve, they gave it to me because they wanted me to have it. See, that's what makes it so beautiful.
Tony doesn't fit into any categories. If you ask him how long he's been homeless, for instance, first of all, he doesn't consider himself homeless. And second of all, he has an alternative sense of time.
Time it's just not there for me. It's there for you. Okay, you work, you have a job, you have a wife, you have a son, you have a daughter. I could never be a parent. How can I tell a child to do the things that I refuse to do myself?
There's a few other things I want to tell you about Tony. First of all, he doesn't go to sleep like you or I do. He simply drops off wherever he is. Second of all, he doesn't have a place where all of his things are stored. Half of his possessions, the most invaluable half that he can't afford to lose, he carries on his shoulders in a big green plastic bag. The half that he can afford to lose, if it comes to that, he ditches in an unknown place in the greater New York City subway system.
See, the whole world is my home. That's the way I look at it. The beautiful thing about the world being my home, I ain't got to worry about no friggin' landlord evicting me anytime he gets ready. The only way I get evicted from this world is when it's time to die.
So even though Tony is a homeless guy, there is a sense in which he really is being evicted. Because if the whole world is Tony's home, his living room has been the train stop at Stillwell Avenue on Coney Island. Those changes that Tony was announcing, those changes in the subway lines, he was talking about the closing of Stillwell Avenue for renovations. At that stop, where 4 train lines came together on Coney Island, there's a bridge that runs across the 4 tracks. And on top of that bridge is this odd building that was the Transit Authority rec room. In it were pool tables, a giant clock, and most important to Tony, a television set where he could come and watch his beloved sports games.
This place has been so good to me. I mean, this is the Mecca. This is the MTA's version of Madison Square Garden. There isn't another place where I could go and have the good times. This place is priceless. I'm the only one that feels that way.
Tony loved this place so much that in some ways, every day he was there was Super Bowl Sunday.
Hey, Muscles.
He arrived there at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Where the candy at, man? Lay a sweet tooth on me.
He camped out on that bridge where he would play chess and checkers with either transit workers coming in and out of the rec room or with customers coming by.
You're sticking with that, huh?
And he would wait for the Major League football or baseball game or basketball game, depending on the season, to get started.
Okay.
Now remember, Tony's carrying a large plastic bag with all of his belongings, and everybody inside is wearing a spiffy transit uniform, and he was not allowed inside that transit rec room. That set was so far away from the window that he couldn't hear a thing that was going on. But that was okay.
Oh, well, see, that I don't care about the audio. It's the video is what matters to me. To be able to actually see the game that I'm looking at. I don't care about the announcers.
But do you ever wish that you could go in and sit in there?
No, because I wouldn't want to go in there. I would prefer to stay right here.
So I was there on the last day of the Stillwell Avenue Transit Rec Room's existence, the day before it closed, with the water pouring down on a rainy day on Coney Island and a sad look in Tony's eyes. And to make matters worse, instead of Major League Baseball, which he loves, on comes, of all things, tennis. The transit workers were watching tennis. So it was a bad day all around. He himself looked around this place that he'd been coming to for so many years and realized that his world was going dark.
Because this place is being torn down, I'm going to be forced to make changes as a result of that. So I told myself that I'm going to just give up on sports. I'm not going to be watching any more sports, Steve.
Okay, so what's the big deal? Tony's not going to be able to watch sports anymore.
It makes me feel so good.
But you see, for Tony, it's not just sports. It's not just about entertainment. This is about what makes us human.
See, the stimulation that you get from watching competition, see, that's what the mind needs. Why? Because if it doesn't get it, it'll stagnate. And you will become vegetable as a result of that.
As I stood there with Tony, I started to choke up. I started to realize that he was not only giving up sports, he was also talking about giving up on the newspaper. And I could just see this world coming to an end. And yet when I looked at him, I realized that there was a way in which, as far as he was concerned, this was all to be expected. Loss did not come as a surprise.
I mean, too many things go wrong. There's an overabundance of wrong, and it's just a little right. Wrong is what actually makes the world go round. Wrong is king. Wrong rules. Wrong dominates. The world is actually geared to go wrong.
Tony was bummed out. There's no doubt about it. But usually, that's not the real Tony. He's laughing. He's joking. He's in a great mood. And hey, it was a bummer. I mean, you'd be bummed out too if they closed down your living room.
See, for me to not be able to see sports, and then, like I mentioned to you, I'm going to quit reading the paper. I'm gonna start getting quiet. I'm not going to be doing any talking or nothing.
Tony never finished saying what he had to say. He just drifted off. But not to worry. I saw him a few days later, and he was talking, and he was laughing, and he was just as philosophical and pessimistic as ever. Now, I don't know about you, but I actually find his philosophies consoling. Because when things go wrong, it's always nice to know that, at least according to Tony, it's to be expected.